educate, and what is your philosophy just behind education in general? Like, how do folks best learn?
So under education, I have that so let me to answer your question, let's back up. My
Yeah.
educational philosophy has always been meet the person where they are. That's what Cause a Scene was, right? The problem with that was if you look at how we traditionally talk about, even if you're in another country, you have your preschool kids, you have your school kids, and you have your post school kids. Okay, or education. Let's put it that you have your preschool education, your school education, and then your
Yeah.
post school education. So if you look at it from that way, when I'm thinking of students, first of all, as an educator, I like to see people as students because then I have a framework around that. I know what classroom management looks like. I know what scaffolding looks like. I know what curriculum development looks like. I know what lesson plans look like. So that's how I come at this. I come out when I put on the education hat, I say, oh, educator, what do I need to do for that? That's why I have a whole master's degree in training and development. I know how to write curriculums, all of that shit. um, Identify and make and level up to learning outcomes. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, what are the learning outcomes? What am I trying to get to? And so for that, I want to for under education umbrella. It is a development of a supremacy-free, coercion-free, discrimination-free, and exploitation-free perspective, leading to strategic engagement and documented outcomes. We need documented outcomes. There's so much about how systems, institutions, and policies that are designed to privilege the few at the expense of the many operate is by somebody telling you something or it being the default narrative.
Mhm.
Where's the data? Where and this is the same thing we see with DE and I. The reason it's not been successful because people who have implemented there's a lot of reasons. One of the in the education space is what were your out was everybody on board with identifying the outcomes they wanted and the path forward and benchmarks for identifying are we approaching those outcomes or are we not, whatever. Because although DEI has been relegated to the woke category at this point, I always had a problem with it because you can't talk about diversity, equity, inclusion in systems, institutions, and policies designed to not only make sure they don't happen, but to be hostile to those things. See, that's
Mhm.
the we were in it. You brought some stuff into a system that's hostile to the thing you're trying. So it's like an invasive species to these systems, institutions, and policies. So now we're going into biology. So it became your white blood cells just went fucking crazy trying to kill these diversity, inclusion, equity, and inclusion initiatives because the host body didn't understand what the hell it was, right?
Yeah.
We didn't prepare the host body for this inoculation, for this thing that he considered an invasion, where actually it was an inoculation. You should have seen it as a vaccination of the shit that's already there. It was gonna so you get an inoculation to either prevent, something that happens, or I don't think the inoculation once you've had it, you might this is a better one. So two ways to protect yourself from a virus. Let's say it that way: either get inoculation or get the virus, and which is a part of inoculation, or get the real virus and do what you can to stay well so you can have those antibodies, right? So those are the two ways I know, right? Um, your host body, if the host body is ill, which it is with systems, institutions, and policies designed to privilege the few at the expense of the many, you can either inject an a inoculation to help your body build the cells it needs to make that host body healthier, or you can wait till you get fucking sick, which is the risk and crisis management part of this, and
Yeah.
then deal with it that way. Damn, that was a good ass analogy. Shit,
I
I
was
pulled
just
that one out
gonna
my ass.
say, did you just cook that analogy up here?
Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, so so with the goal of education in the Futures Free Triune being to develop a supremacy, coercion, discrimination, exploitation-free perspective leading to strategic engagement and documented outcomes, we have to have opportunities to develop that supremacy, coercion, discrimination, exploitation-free practice. We need to gain real-world experiences. And we need to establish a supremacy, which will help us establish a supremacy, coercion, discrimination, exploitation-free ethos that we can, because that's the part. It's like we don't have the foundation yet. So it's hard when people say, when they think they understand what I'm talking about, they don't, because I don't have those examples of what that looks like. They don't have anything tangible to hold on to, right? And so when your host body is being attacked, all you know is Tylenol, right? I don't care how effective it may be for this virus or whatever. You just know what you know. You know Vicks. Right. You know NyQuil.
Yeah.
What we're saying is that is, oh my God, this is a good, okay. So here's a good example. So for years I have been saying when I felt that I was being overstimulated or overwhelmed or was processing too much, I would say I'm in my snake shedding skin phase, which means I need to retreat. Snakes are at their most vulnerable when they're in their snake shedding skin phase. They can't see, they're vulnerable, so they attack. That's when they're most dangerous, because they're at their most vulnerable. So I would go isolate myself because I didn't want to be triggered. And I didn't also want to inflict harm in that space where I would have to go back and make amends later. So I would isolate myself. I felt that I would say that for years. I don't feel that anymore. I have a different way I actually am a new thing. I was a caterpillar and now I'm a butterfly. Caterpillars and butterflies are the same thing, but very different. Caterpillars don't eat the same thing as butterflies. They don't operate the same as butterflies. They are relegated to whatever the hell they fell on. Butterflies can go anywhere, right? So it's the same species, but completely different. What else changes like that? What else in nature changes like that, right? From one creature to a completely different creature. That's how I feel, and that's what this work is. And so without that complete change, we are still the snake shedding skin. And it's the same thing, it's just getting bigger. Right? A snake shedding skin is just it's the same damn snake, it's just getting bigger, it's just outgrowing its skin. Nothing changes in that environment. It's the same shit, it's just more of it. But how I see the education, in particular, the ethos part of it is you starting off as a caterpillar, and once you develop this supremacy, coercion, discrimination, and exploitation-free ethos, lens, perspective, you become a butterfly.
Right. And it's funny. It's as simple as that. It is a perspective shift. It is not easy, but it is simple.
I mean, but again, going back to the caterpillar, butterfly. Yeah. It has to go cocoon. Think about all the shit its whole body has to be destroyed and rebuilt into something else.
Right.
So we're not saying it's absent of trauma. We're not saying it's absent of difficulty. We're not saying it's absent of challenges. We're saying we understand that that's a part of the process.
Yeah. And we're saying it's possible.
Damn, that's, oh shit. Shit. I'm on fire today.
You are. We should take a 4-month hiatus more often. Come back swinging. But it's true, right? I mean, because so much of education is simply awareness. It's simply broadening perspectives. It's simply, and it's, maybe the word simple, I don't want to do a disjustice because it's, but
what I'm going to say is,
yeah.
What is education is not that. What is education is conformity. What is education is assimilation. What is education is these systems, institutions, and policies must be that benefit the few at the expense of the many must be maintained for generations for them to continue to operate as they are. So that is what traditional education is about, getting you to maintain that shit. What we're talking about is turning you into from a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Right. We're talking about what's possible.
Yes. What education, the dreams people have of education, what's possible. And not just in school, preschool, school, and post school.
Right.
It is how we manage our lives.